DJ Mr. Success.
Yes, sir. Welcome to the Top Notch Show with yours truly, Sam I Am.
Mr. Success.
Week 3, Blackness is not just February 2023, 20th day of the month on this fabulous Monday morning. Coming up on today's show, historical places right here in Chicago, groups, people, and resources in the area, all coming up on today's show. But first up, remember this is election season in Chicago. We have a mayor election and different elections right in your community going on. I suggest you find out what's going on in yours and who's running for what, so you can find out about who's making decisions around you in your neighborhood, because this affects the outcome of what's going on around you. I mean, come on, open your eyes, people, and pay attention on what's going on around you. If you don't know where to start, Google it. Google can just about answer anything or have an answer for you, or can lead you to the sources to find out. Or go to your local library and find out everything. Who's running, look up the person's history, find out their whereabouts, what they like to do, are they rude or polite, what's their intention for the community. By doing all of this, it starts to make changes. You got to start somewhere. Get to know your decision makers. Speak to them. Make a plan and questions to ask them just in case you run into them at a store somewhere. And that's when you really can find out about a person, when you catch them off guard. And that way, you can tell if they fit for the job or not. And especially street people, the ones so-called looking for their ops. And the ops, the real ops, really smile at you every day, and you clueless for what's really going on around you. And forgive me for whoever take this the wrong way, but when I used to do construction, I used to go to different neighborhoods. You know, some was very expensive areas sometime, and people would approach us asking questions. Some people would say they was acting like Karens or Kevins. I didn't take it that way, because that's why I always was polite and paid attention to my own surroundings. And most of the time, the people was just making sure we wasn't burglars or some type of kidnappers or something in their neighborhood. And a couple of times it was just a case of rude people, but that's not the case in our community anymore. A store can just pop up, nobody investigates it. Who the owner is, where they come from, or the background, or any work crews that come in our area doing work. These rappers got the young generation gassed up on thinking they gang, and most of them don't even know the history of the organizations in their neighborhood and the purpose for them existing. Somehow the real opposition got the community thinking they don't even exist anymore. Strangers walk, drive, open up businesses, come do household work, and watches everything that go on without anybody asking them anything anymore. And we wonder why we have a high rate of kidnapping, women abduction, and unsolved shootings in the neighborhood. Because the first thing pop in our mind is gang related. Gang member come up there, instantly they think a rival did it. And let's keep them occupied while the real ops have open season on our community. But this is Black History Month, folks, and that's another story, another topic, coming soon to the Top Notch show. So, moving right along, I got a text message from a number I didn't recognize, and I wasn't going to even open it because that's what I normally do. But I pray for guidance, understanding, and my purpose in life, and to lead and surround me with the people that I need to meet to make this happen. But anyway, the text message read, hold on, let me put it up. It said, hi, I'm not going to say their name, person I never heard of. I'm blah, 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 with the Worker Center for Racial Justice, a Black liberation org in South Shore. I'm inviting you to join us Thursday, February 16th at 6 p.m. to our first open house of the year. Food, drinks will be provided. And it was attached to it a nice little flyer. Of course, I looked them up right away. I told you earlier, Google, you could just about find out anything. So I found them, excuse me, but I didn't just stop there. It was on like a Monday, advertising for it on Thursday. I checked them out the very next day, Tuesday. Just rolled around a couple times, looked up in there. Then even did it again Thursday on my way to an event downtown I had to do. And checked them out on the way back and got there like 20 minutes before they started. I got there like 5:40ish or something. Surprised when they was actually still getting it together, but they were legit, and I had a beautiful time. I networked with a few people, learned a lot, and they did have food, lots of food. People from the area was able to come in, warm up, and have a good meal. And I did see a lot of different media and journalist people that I had recognized from other events that I was on, and I figured out, or I'm just guessing that my number maybe was affiliated with them or something. And that's how I just got the random text message. But yeah, they was legit, and I would love to tell you a little bit more about the Worker Center for Racial Justice, but I'm gonna actually try to get one of them for a future show, and they could tell you a little bit about themselves and who they are. So coming up on the show, I'm gonna reach out to one of them probably this week or something for one of the future shows to be on. They can tell you a little bit about them, and then I'll read off some stuff too about them on the show too. But that's for another show. But Black History right here in Chicago, the Johnson Publish Company building. Let me pull up if I can read a little something for you. I have some documents somewhere. Hold on. Yep, right here. Black History in Chicago, the Johnson Publishing Company building. This 11, pull it over here, I can see it a little better. This 11-story South Loop building is the former home of Johnson Publishing and Jet and Ebony magazine, which were among the most important and influential black media of the 20th century. The building, which was redeveloped as luxury apartments, was also designed by a black architect. Chess Records. Over the course of the 50s, Motor Row evolved into Record Row. A stretch of Michigan Avenue was popular jazz, blues, and soul albums were recorded and distributed. This building at 2120 South Michigan, also the title of the 1964 Rolling Stones song recorded there, became Chess Records in 1956. The legendary music label was featured Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, Bo Diddley, and Chuck Berry. Oh yeah. Chicago Defender Building, one of the 9 buildings in the Black Metro Bronzeville Historical District, was home to the Chicago Defender newspaper during the Chicago mid-century Black Renaissance. Once the Once the largest African American newspaper in the world, the Defender, currently located at 4445 South King Drive, went digital. Only publication in 2019. All right. Ida B. Wells Barnett House. This Queen Anne style house is the only direct physical link to Ida B. Wells' life in Chicago. It was home for the writer and civil rights activist and her lawyer journalist husband from 1919 into 1930. In early 2019, the city renamed Congress Drive for Ida B. Wells, and this house is located at 3624 South Martin Luther King Drive. If you ever want to check that out. Southside Community Arts Center. Originally built in 1893 for a grain merchant, this Georgian style structure at 3831 South Michigan Avenue was remodeled in 1940 and converted into the Southside Community Arts Center. Eleanor Roosevelt opened the center on behalf of the Work Progress Administration Federal Arts Project, and is now the only survivor for more than 100 centers established nationwide by the WPA during the 30s and 40s. DuSable Museum, African American History, named after Chicago's founder, DuSable, is the first African American museum in the United States. This High Park building contains over 15,000 sculptures, paintings, and other artifacts of black history and culture. And this place is located 740 East 56th Place. National A. Philip Randolph Pullman Porter Museum. On the north end of Pullman National Monument site, you can visit the first black labor history museum in the United States. It tells the story of African Americans who worked as railroad porters for the Pullman Company in 1894. The company town was ground zero for a 2-month long nationwide rebellion of workers on strike. And I got a couple of churches, site of the 1967 Martin Luther King sermon, Why Jesus Called Man a Fool. This church is located at 4600 South King Drive, and we had another one up here. Yeah, the Quinn Chapel AME. This 1892 building wasn't the first for Chicago's oldest African American. Oh, say it wasn't the first Chicago oldest African American congregation. The Chicago Fire of the Chicago Fire of 1871 destroyed the original building, so the church met in temporary locations until purchasing a lot at 2401 South Wabash Avenue, named for Bishop William P. Quinn. This church was a stop on the Underground Railroad and was visited by Martin Luther King Jr. and original pew of the church was donated to the Smithsonian Institute. And I had one more down here. The First Church of Deliverance, designed in 1939 by Walter Bailey, the city's first African American architect. Okay. The church is notable for its history and development of gospel music and Christian radio broadcasting. And this is located at 4315 South Wabash. Well, there you have it, folks. A couple of historical spots right here in the Chicago area you can check out. So, on this beautiful Monday morning, I got to sign out. Today, February 20th, the time right now is 9:26.
DJ Mr. Success.
Grand Sheraton Hotel by 11, so let me go and get ready for that. Well, I'm about to sign out, so, but you know my motto, when you witness success, you always have a ball. If I don't tell the truth, it's nothing at all. It's success, bringing pleasure, no stress. Until next week, y'all. Peace.
DJ Mr. Success.